Ladies and gentlemen, may we just have everybody's attention. First of all, welcome to the Keepmoat Stadium for this very, very special press conference. We welcome all the staff of Doncaster Rovers and all the written and televised press gathered here today. First of all, we will hear from our chairman, David Blunt, but just to introduce the top table, we have our chairman, David Blunt, of course. Chief executive of Doncaster Rovers is Mr. Gavin Baldwin, and the new manager of Doncaster Rovers is Mr. Darren Ferguson. David, if you would like to address everybody now.
Thanks, Jonathan. Good morning, everyone. It's my pleasure as chairman of Doncaster Rovers Football Club to introduce Darren Ferguson as our new manager. We promised around 5.5 weeks ago that we would go through a detailed recruitment process. We considered people in employment and out of employment, people who had applied for jobs, and also we looked at people that actually hadn't applied. We looked at people from within this country and people from abroad as well. So it was quite an extensive process, and we had over 70 applicants for the job. But Darren was the outstanding applicant. There were a number of factors that influenced our decision. Darren's passion for coming to Doncaster Rovers was high on our list. His energy and drive, his commitment to the community and the engagement with the community. What we also wish to do is to provide a pathway for opportunity for our young people and the young people of Doncaster. And as I say, Darren was passionate about that as well. But obviously the biggest factors was the performance on the field, which everybody is obviously keen to do. Darren's philosophy of exciting, attacking football was something that ticked our box. His career win ratio of 42%. No other applicant had got that win ratio, which we believe is fantastic. And understanding what's needed to get from a League One side to a Championship side, which Darren has a track record of doing at Peterborough, which I'm sure you'll have all done your research on that. Just to reiterate our ambitions for Doncaster Rovers Football Club, and that is a sustainable Championship club. Our immediate ambition is for us to reach the playoffs this year. So no pressure there, Darren.
Thanks, David.
But we do recognise that we're on the beginning of the journey and not to our destination. We wish our manager the very best of luck, and I'd like to introduce Darren Ferguson.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we embark on questions, if we can ensure all phones are switched to silent or off, and we would like to start the questions. Who would like to get us underway? Peter Carr.
Could I just ask the chairman, you said that Darren was the outstanding candidate. What did Darren have over and above the other candidates?
Well, as I say, first and foremost, we looked at the football experience, the track record. A 42% win ratio was not achieved by any other manager that we looked at. The ability to be able to get teams promoted, and as we said, our ambition is to become a championship, sustainable championship side. And I think it was also the community aspect, the drive that he's shown, the enthusiasm for his job. There was quite a number of boxes, and he was the clear leader in our choice at the end of the day. But just to reaffirm, it took 5.5 weeks. Dick Watson, Andy Watson and Gavin, we went through an extensive process, and we left what we tried to think of no stone unturned to get our man, and unfortunately we've got our man.
So it was the 4 of you who interviewed then?
Yeah, the 4 of us interviewed Monday and Tuesday of this week. We had originally 70 applicants. Gavin went through and shortlisted those applicants. And as I say, we interviewed on Monday and Tuesday this week, and we made our decision, and obviously Darren's here today.
It did seem that you wanted to announce the appointment slightly earlier. Was there a late hitch which caused it to be held?
Not that I'm aware of. No, we were pretty clear in our minds, but we'd spent 5.5 weeks, and we wanted to have discussions with Darren to make sure he wanted to accept the job, of course. So Gavin has been running up and down the A1 for a couple of days, I think, and eating all the cookies in Darren's house, as I'm led to believe.
That's
as well.
true.
And so, you know, that was the only reason for the wanting to delay the process, to make sure we have all our ducks in a row, which is the way we've conducted this 5.5 week process, really. Thank you.
Darren, what is it about this club that attracted you here, and what sort of challenge are you looking forward to now?
Well, first and foremost, I'm delighted to be here, delighted to be announced the manager. Really looking forward to it. It's a challenge, it's an exciting challenge, you know, and as the chairman has said, we want to be a championship club. We want to get a championship status, and that's clear from the talks I've had, and that's clear from what I said to them. That's what I want to expect. Now, whether that's, of course, short term or long term, we'll wait and see, but that is the aim. The football club is a good, sound football club, you know, well respected, well run. That's known by everyone in football, and that was one of the attractions. And during my break, there's obviously things you look at and what you want out of a football club. Until you meet the actual people in charge of it, you just don't know. But when we met on Monday, our philosophies and our visions completely matched, and that was the most telling factor, really, from the whole talks we had.
What kind of fan do you expect from your team? Has your philosophy changed since you've been away from the game?
No, I don't. I think managers have their own way of wanting to play, their own philosophies, and I don't want to keep using that word because, you know, first and foremost, I just want to get to work with the group of players we've got. I've looked at the squad in detail. I've looked at the games. I think it's a good blend of experience and youth, and the youth thing is something that is pivotal to the club. They're the foundations of the football club. There's no question about that. That's where you start. You know, we've got the development programme, which is important to everyone in Doncaster, and you build up from there, and you've got the youth team, and there's plenty of youth team players that have come through, which is good, and I want to reinforce that. Added to that, the experience you've got in the team as well. So I'm really looking forward to it. I'm excited by it. I've had a good break, but I'm ready to go now. Yeah. I think you can look in. The time was 6 months, just a little bit longer, and it gives you time to reflect on what you've done in the past, to look at the good and the bad, because they're obviously a combination of both, and learn from it and take that into your next job. But I'm really excited about this job and the challenge ahead, and I think that's how everyone should look at it.
You know a lot about this division.
Yeah.
Do you think that pushing for the top six again in Wales is realistic?
Well, that's the aim, you know, and until I work day in, day out with the group of players I've got, it's a slightly difficult question to answer, you know, but that is the clear aim, you know, and the one thing that I do feel this season in League One, compared to certainly the last 2 seasons, is, you know, you had Wolves, Brentford, Rotherham got 1 year, and then it was Bristol City, Preston, and Milton Keynes. You know, Sheffield United have got a big budget just up there. There's no question about that. Wigan. Apart from that, this could be anyone's league this year. I really think it's a real competitive league, and I'm looking forward to getting back to work. Thanks. Do you understand?
Yeah, happy. You have 1 year rolling contract.
What was the most important quality that you look for in
The ability to get us promoted, as I say, short, medium or long term, without putting Darren under pressure. You know, obviously there's this season, but Darren's going to, you know, reflect his personality over the years to come on that team, and we want that team to be one that can establish itself in the Championship over years to come. So that was, as David said as well, the absolute prerequisite. It's an absolute bonus. Everything else that Darren brings with him about community, commitment to the foundation, enthusiasm was the bonus. The biggest fit for us is the track record, 42%, as David and Darren have talked about. You know, it's something that genuinely excites us. We want our fans to come here and be excited every Saturday, every Tuesday. It's all about excitement. You know, we want the fun to start.
You said you looked at the scorecard. Do you think there's not been there to
I think in football it can happen where you just go through an inconsistent run of results. That's clearly been the case at this. You know, we're nearly in a third of the season now. And like I said before, until I work with the players and get to know their training habits and their character and their personalities, only then will I know that. Only then could I answer that. What I do see on all you get is a piece of paper with your squad. As a manager, you look at that and think, have I got the tools to work with? Absolutely. That's clear. And then we'll just see where it goes from there.
Where does this leave Rob Jordan?
I think Rob is doing a really good job with the under-21s. He's done a really good job. He's obviously come in as the caretaker, and he's done fine, done a good job. Not a problem with that at all. I had a good chat with Rob last night on the phone, and throughout his career he's been a good professional, and I fully expect that to be the case. And he'll remain with the under-21s doing the job he's doing, because as I've said earlier, that's an important job within the club. No, I'm looking to add one person to the backroom team. You know, when the previous manager left with his number 2, that's the only positions that will, you know, that'll go hand in hand. The rest of the staff, similar to the players, happy to go in and work with them, and because of course I haven't worked with them before, they may give me fresh ideas as I will them. So I'm looking forward to that.
At this stage, yeah, no concerns at all.
Is it fair to say the funds will be, are you increasing what is the subside? Is it better the funds will be available for Darren in January?
There are funds in January. Obviously, Darren and I, with the board, will work in partnership to agree when it's released, how it's released, and what they're spent on. But over to Darren for the decision on the players. But yes, there are funds available.
Did that increase funds over and above what he was there for the previous manager?
We already had funds identified for the previous manager, and obviously we'll work with Darren, because if Darren convinces us that, you know, this spend would get the following outcomes, then it's an open question. But the previous manager had funds available for January as well, and we will work together to see whether that's enough.
How important Darren is in entertaining over just getting results? Entertaining is quite a big thing.
It is. It is a very big part of the job. I like my teams to entertain, to be, you know, very free to go and express themselves, especially at the top end of the pitch. It's really important, and that's something obviously we'll work on. I think that was a clear stat that, you know, we do need to get more goals. That is clear, and we'll try and find a way of doing that. And saying that, in the last 2 league games we've scored 4 goals, so you know, there's work to be done clearly, and you've got to get your own identity into the team and how you want to play. But it's a clear, it'll be a clear statement from me in terms of you want your team to entertain. Fans want to be entertained. There's no question about that. They give up the money, they come along and watch, they want to be entertained. It's our job to entertain them. Don't get me wrong, I don't want to be 6-5 every week, but we want to get goals and we want to entertain and play a way that I've generally always have done with the teams I've had.
Okay, we all look good for questions from the floor. What we're going to do now is give the opportunity to break out in some one-on-ones. All 3 of our top table are available for some one-on-ones. If we can be all tidied up though by 10 AM, that will be much appreciated from everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your attendance. A big thank you to our top table, Gavin Baldwin, to David Blunt, and to the new manager of Doncaster Rovers, Darren Ferguson.
Thank you.